There it is.
Well,
Welcome everybody to the Brighton Gamification Meetup. First one we've had since I think about 8. Summer break was a bit long. Today's meetup, thanks to Max and Platform Group for hosting it and letting us put it together.
thank you.
And we're all going to have fun with the big touch screen, I'm sure.
Oh wow.
I can't show you that one. We need an event. So tonight's one is all about basically people telling us about their favourite gamified apps, whether it's their own or ones they use. So we've got a bit of a mix in terms of the speakers and what they want to talk about. And really, I'm just going to let them get on with it. So first up, we've got Shane Fumagall, who works for me, but isn't talking about one of our products.
Yeah, so apologies first, because I've got a bit of a cold, so if that's an issue, you tell me. I'd recommend you all sign into the Wi-Fi, which is there, because I imagine there's going to be a lot of downloading of apps today, but again, if not, that's fine. So yeah, the Wi-Fi is yes, platform yes. And we're doing it on the hashtag, if you're doing it on Twitter, gamification by the sea, because why not? So, yeah, I'm shaping well, I do the marketing for Gamification Plus, and I'm going to talk about Ecosia. This is a gamified app in which you essentially do a search the same way as Google, but every search you do, it goes towards planting a tree for the environment. So is there any environmentally conscious people out here today? Yeah, very good. So this might be the app for you, which I'd recommend you download it if that's the case, because it's instead of using ad revenue for on business means, it uses it for planting trees instead, which really helps out developing communities in places like Africa. They've got places in Madagascar and also in Latin America as well, which is really helping fight against the deforestation movement which is happening there. It's as you see from the business report, it spends primarily most of its money on its tree planting, 40 to 50%. No money on advertisement, so it's all mainly focused on the planting of trees. Now, the way in which it's gamified is, I obviously already get to talk to you today about how it can be gamified in a better way, because if you're going to compete against a company like Google or Yahoo, already well established, you're going to need a good strategy to do that. And to do that, really you need gamification. Now, they do have gamification already, which, as you can kind of see here, you have sort of a visual display of how much trees have been planted, how much have been planted with help. It's quite aesthetically pleasing, and this really works on the Talis' model by Yuka Chow of having this epic meaning and purpose. It really allows you to do something great by allowing you to, it's just such a simple way and something that you do every day, which is just searching the internet, but you're actually having an effect for that, which is very useful. But really, outside of that and outside of visual aesthetics, there's not much going on. So they could improve that in a much better way. And one of the biggest ways they can do that is by helping build a community. So they don't really have any online forums to talk about things. They don't really champion their longer term consumers. It's really all about this epic meaning. But generally, philanthropists and activists, they're quite an active community and they like to get together and help each other. So if they offered a way and just some of that budget into getting people out there to help maybe in events, sort of just helping plant a tree, or maybe spreading awareness, even in the UK, just planting a tree in your garden, or maybe even just showing people how to plant trees, how to work more on gardening, etc. That will be a way to really champion their consumers, because really they need to do a bit better than that. And again, with the philanthropist player type that they're really focusing on here, that would be an effective way to do it. But yeah, that's what I really wanted to say about this app. It's a nice app that people really should know more about, because I'm sure a lot of people would use it, as its interface is pretty pleasing. Its search results are nearly identical to Google, so you're not really missing out on anything. And yeah, I recommend you use it. And that's all for me.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I've got a few actually. Do you know, I mean, you look at something like that and you think instantly that that is the perfect thing to stick in a school.
Yeah.
So, why don't they? I mean, I'm quite interested, and you may not know the answer to that, but...
Well, I'd imagine it's because they spend no money on advertisements, so nobody really knows about it. There's a bit for, it's operating costs, but because they're so heavily focused on planting trees, which is good, but there should really be a little bit out there to be able to spread the word more than just word of mouth. And I know it's primarily an American company as well, so maybe there's a bit more talk around it in North America, but there's very little in Europe and here.
But it's a fantastic idea. I love it. I think it's brilliant. When you think of all the tie-ups that you could do to encourage people, everything from linking up with charities generally, but also as an education piece, this is fantastic. And to see how many trees you plant, you think about the gamification opportunities in that. To actually be able to see it says 8 trees that you've helped plant. I don't know if that's you personally or whether that's just somebody. But if you imagine you had your trees and they were just sitting there on the page and you watched your trees grow, imagine what that would do for kids when they're sitting there at school and they're adding their trees.
Kids would get very excited. I have
how much they tell their parents and how much they make their parents do the same thing.
Yeah, I have a little sister and I do personally get very excited about it. It's such a simple thing to do because everyone does. I mean, I don't have exact figures, but I would say I do maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 Google searches a day. I imagine some people a lot more, some people maybe less, but I think it's around every 12 searches you get a tree planted, which isn't a lot really. That's 2 or 3 a day. This isn't actually my screen there, but I found it online. But it's you can build up trees pretty quickly.
How is it funded then?
It's funded by the ad revenue. It's the same as how Google is funded. You get search ad revenue, but instead of putting that into business costs and advertising and just growing the business, they just focus on environmental cause instead. Any more questions?
So sustainably, I'm sorry, I've got to go on forever, please.
I've actually been using the app beforehand, and I found it very nice in the beginning, but then in the end, the search engine was just not as good as Google, so I switched again.
Yeah.
Do you think that they could do anything about this, that they can gain me back?
They could, when you're going against someone like Google, they obviously have millions of pounds to put into the perfect aesthetic page, and they've done it really well. So really the way that Ecosia could work on this better is by adding gamification to really bring people on, because they're not really going to be able to compete on that perfect aestheticism that Google has, but they can compete on a different front, and gamification is the way in which they can compete on that front. And by championing this epic meaning of saving the environment, if they work more on that, they could really keep people on. Because I would agree, it's not quite as good as Google. There's certain things, like if you search what is 10 plus 10, it would come up just 20 on the screen instead. Google does that sort of thing very well, which this company probably wouldn't be able to do, especially for the short term. But they can compete in other ways which can get people there for the longer term, and gamification is one of those ways. Any more questions?
Max, did you have a question?
I've always got a question. So, how did you find this?
Good question. Can't remember now exactly. I think it might have been word of mouth. We live in quite a liberal area. It's probably word of mouth.
And is this only? I've just downloaded it, but presumably, how do you find out where the trees are planted? Well, how do you find out where all this stuff is going?
So there was there's buttons down here, what is Ecosia, and there's a more button here, which if you click on it, explains their mission, you know, where they're planting, which is, you know, pretty easy to find that if you look into it. I actually did a report into it, so I kind of know about that already. But
so when you talk about epic meaning, do you think that epic meaning and gamification need to go kind of hand in hand?
well, it's one of Yukai Chow's 8 strands of the Octalysis model. It's his number one core drive is epic meaning and purpose. He says it's one of the fundamental drivers in humans to what brings them into long-term engagement, and having epic meaning. What's the bigger epic meaning? You know, saving the environment.
Yeah. Same with Dan Pink, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And the tree looks a little bit like Groot. Do you think baby Groot?
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Shane.